In the annals of biblical history, few stories are as dramatic and chilling as the death of Queen Jezebel. Known for her influence and power, Jezebel's downfall was as spectacular as her life. She was a formidable queen, a woman whose presence shaped the course of an entire kingdom. Her story is one that has been told through the ages, capturing the imagination and attention of scholars, theologians, and storytellers alike. Queen Jezebel's death stands out not only for its brutality but also for what it represented: a divine reckoning and a moment of justice in the eyes of those who believed in the one true God of Israel. Her life and death serve as a poignant reminder of the consequences that come with defying divine authority and embracing wickedness. In this exploration, we will delve into the day Queen Jezebel met her fate and why it is considered one of the worst deaths in the Bible. Jezebel's story is intertwined with themes of power, manipulation, and spiritual defiance. As the Queen of Israel, she wielded immense influence, not just over her husband, King Ahab, but over the religious practices of the nation. Her relentless pursuit of idolatry and her persecution of the prophets of Yahweh marked her as one of the most notorious figures in biblical lore. Her death was not merely an end to her life. It was a pivotal moment that underscored the struggle between the forces of idolatry and the worship of Yahweh. The intensity of Jezebel's final moments reflects the dramatic narrative arc that her life took, a life filled with political intrigue, spiritual conflict, and a steadfast defiance that ultimately led to her downfall. Understanding Jezebel's story is crucial as it serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of pride, manipulation, and turning away from divine guidance. Her life was marked by actions that not only defied the God of Israel, but also actively sought to undermine the spiritual foundations of the kingdom. Jezebel was a foreign princess, the daughter of Ethbal, king of the Sidonians. Her marriage to Ahab was a political alliance, one that brought with it the customs and religions of her homeland. With her came the worship of Baal, a Canaanite deity, and Asherah, a goddess associated with fertility and war. Jezebel's introduction of these deities into the religious fabric of Israel represented a direct challenge to the monotheistic worship of Yahweh. Her influence over Ahab was profound. Jezebel's actions were not just those of a supportive wife. She was the driving force behind many of the king's most controversial decisions. She supported the construction of temples for Baal and Asherah, effectively institutionalizing their worship. This was a clear deviation from the teachings of the God of Israel, who demanded exclusive devotion from his people. Jezebel's role in this religious shift cannot be overstated. She was the catalyst for a cultural and spiritual transformation that threatened to erode the core beliefs of the Israelite nation. Jezebel's defiance of Yahweh was not limited to the promotion of idolatry. She actively persecuted the prophets of Israel, those who spoke out against her and Ahab's actions. One of the most well-known confrontations was with the prophet Elijah, a man who stood as a beacon of resistance against the queen's encroachments. Jezebel's threat to kill Elijah after the dramatic showdown on Mount Carmel, where Yahweh's power was displayed in front of the prophets of Baal, was a testament to her determination to eliminate any opposition to her rule. Her actions were calculated and ruthless, aimed at consolidating her power and securing the dominance of her gods over Israel. The narrative of Jezebel serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the dangers of allowing pride and idolatry to cloud judgment and spiritual integrity. Her story is one of unchecked ambition, where the desire for control and influence led to a path of destruction. The consequences of her actions were not limited to her own downfall. They had far-reaching effects on the kingdom of Israel, setting the stage for divine intervention and judgment. Jezebel's life and death remind us that actions have consequences, especially when they are in direct opposition to the will of God. Queen Jezebel was known for her strength and influence, marrying King Ahab and bringing her beliefs and practices to the kingdom. Her rise to power was marked by her strategic marriage to Ahab, the king of Israel, a union that was more than just a personal alliance. It was a political maneuver designed to strengthen ties between Israel and Phoenicia. As a princess of Sidon, Jezebel was well-versed in the political dynamics of the region, and her marriage to Ahab brought with it a shift in the religious and cultural landscape of Israel. Jezebel's influence over Ahab was immediate and profound. She was not content to play a passive role as queen consort. Instead, she actively shaped the policies and direction of the kingdom. Her presence in the royal court was characterized by a strong-willed determination to promote the worship of Baal, the god of her people. This was a dramatic departure from the traditions of Israel, where Yahweh was worshipped as the one true God. Jezebel's introduction of Baal worship was not a mere addition to the religious practices of the time. It was a direct challenge to the spiritual authority of Yahweh. Under Jezebel's guidance, Ahab built a temple for Baal in the heart of Samaria, the capital of Israel. This act symbolized the integration of foreign deities into the religious fabric of the nation, a move that was met with resistance from the prophets and followers of Yahweh. Jezebel's commitment to Baal worship was unwavering, and she used her position of power to promote the practices associated with this Canaanite deity. Her influence extended beyond the construction of temples. She actively participated in the rituals and ceremonies dedicated to Baal, setting an example for others to follow. Jezebel's rise to power was not without its challenges. Her introduction of foreign religious practices into Israel was met with opposition from those who remained faithful to Yahweh. The prophets of Israel, in particular, were vocal in their condemnation of Jezebel's actions, warning of the consequences that would follow if the people turned away from their God. Despite this opposition, Jezebel remained steadfast in her mission to establish Baal worship as a dominant force in the kingdom. Her ability to maintain her influence over Ahab and the kingdom was a testament to her political acumen and determination. Jezebel's rise to power was marked by her ability to navigate the complexities of court politics, using her position to further her own agenda while maintaining her hold on the throne. Her story is a reminder of the impact that one individual can have on the course of history, for better or for worse. Jezebel's rise to power set the stage for the dramatic events that would follow, events that would ultimately lead to her downfall and serve as a powerful lesson about the consequences of defying divine authority. Her story is one of ambition and determination, a narrative that continues to captivate and inspire discussions about the nature of power and the importance of staying true to one's spiritual beliefs. Jezebel's impact on religion and politics in Israel was profound and far-reaching, as she actively sought to transform the spiritual landscape of the kingdom. Her marriage to King Ahab was not just a personal union but a political alliance that brought with it significant changes to the cultural and religious practices of the nation. As queen, Jezebel wielded considerable influence over Ahab and the affairs of the kingdom, using her position to promote the worship of Baal and Asherah, gods of her native Phoenician homeland. One of Jezebel's most significant impacts was the institutionalization of Baal worship in Israel. She encouraged the construction of temples and altars dedicated to Baal, and her influence over Ahab ensured that these projects were given priority. This was a stark deviation from the traditional worship of Yahweh, the God of Israel, who demanded exclusive devotion from his people. By promoting Baal worship, Jezebel not only challenged the religious status quo but also sought to establish a new spiritual order that aligned with her own beliefs and heritage. Jezebel's political influence was also evident in her efforts to eliminate opposition to her religious agenda. She was known for her persecution of the prophets of Yahweh, individuals who spoke out against her actions and warned of the spiritual consequences of abandoning the covenant with God. One of the most notable of these prophets was Elijah, who became a thorn in Jezebel's side as he openly challenged the legitimacy of Baal worship and demonstrated the power of Yahweh on Mount Carmel. In response, Jezebel threatened to kill Elijah, demonstrating her determination to silence any dissent and consolidate her influence over the kingdom. The political ramifications of Jezebel's actions were significant. Her introduction of foreign religious practices created tension and division within the kingdom, as many Israelites resisted the changes and clung to their faith in Yahweh. This religious conflict was not merely a matter of personal belief. It had broader implications for the stability and unity of the nation. Jezebel's attempts to suppress the prophets and enforce her own religious policies contributed to a climate of fear and uncertainty, as the people of Israel grappled with the competing influences of their traditional faith and the new idolatrous practices. Jezebel's impact on religion and politics in Israel was a testament to her formidable influence and determination. Her actions set the stage for a spiritual struggle that would define her reign and ultimately lead to her downfall. The story of Jezebel serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of allowing power and ambition to override spiritual integrity and the consequences of turning away from divine guidance. The prophecy of Jezebel's demise was a pivotal moment in her story, serving as a forewarning of the consequences that would come from her defiance of God. The prophets of Israel, who were the spiritual leaders and guides of the nation, spoke out against Jezebel's actions and warned of the judgment that would befall her for leading the people astray. Among these prophets, Elijah was the most prominent, delivering a message of divine retribution that foreshadowed Jezebel's ultimate fate. Elijah's prophecy against Jezebel came after the dramatic confrontation on Mount Carmel, where he challenged the prophets of Baal to a contest to prove the true power of Yahweh. When Yahweh answered Elijah's prayers by sending fire from heaven, the people of Israel were reminded of the might of their God, and the prophets of Baal were defeated. In the aftermath of this event, Elijah declared that Jezebel's end would be both violent and ignominious, with her body left to be devoured by dogs in the fields of Jezreel. This prophecy was a stark warning to Jezebel, a declaration that her reign of idolatry and persecution would not go unpunished. The prophecy of Jezebel's demise was not just a prediction of her physical end, but a statement about the spiritual battle between good and evil, faith and idolatry. It underscored the idea that divine justice would prevail, and that those who defied God's commandments would ultimately face the consequences of their actions. Jezebel's continued defiance of the prophetic warnings and her refusal to change her ways only served to hasten the fulfillment of the prophecy, as her actions led to further alienation from the people and increased tension within the kingdom. The fulfillment of the prophecy came with the rise of Jehu, a military commander anointed by the prophet Elisha to overthrow the house of Ahab. Jehu's rebellion was swift and decisive, and as he approached Jezreel, Jezebel adorned herself and looked out from a window, defiantly facing her impending doom. Despite her attempts to maintain control and authority, her servants turned against her, throwing her from the window to her death. In this moment, Elijah's prophecy was realized, as Jezebel's body was left in the fields, fulfilling the words spoken against her years before. The prophecy of Jezebel's demise serves as a powerful reminder of the inevitability of divine justice. It highlights the importance of heeding spiritual guidance and the dangers of allowing pride and idolatry to cloud judgment. Jezebel's story is a testament to the enduring power of prophecy and the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness over deception and evil. The events leading to Jezebel's death were a culmination of years of political intrigue, spiritual defiance, and prophetic warnings. As queen, Jezebel had established herself as a powerful and influential figure, but her actions had sown the seeds of her own destruction. Her relentless promotion of Baal worship, persecution of the prophets, and manipulation of King Ahab had created a climate of tension and unrest within the kingdom of Israel. The turning point came with the rise of Jehu, a commander in the Israelite army who was anointed by the prophet Elisha to bring an end to the house of Ahab. Jehu's mission was clear: to purge the kingdom of the idolatrous influences that Jezebel had introduced and to restore the worship of Yahweh as the central faith of Israel. This divine mandate gave Jehu both the authority and the determination to challenge Jezebel's reign and bring about her downfall. As Jehu approached the city of Jezreel, where Jezebel resided, the tension reached its peak. Jezebel, aware of Jehu's intentions and the threat he posed to her rule, attempted to maintain her authority by presenting herself as regal and unyielding. She adorned herself and looked out from a palace window, a symbolic gesture that represented her defiance and unwillingness to surrender. In her mind, Jezebel may have believed that her presence and power could sway the outcome in her favor. However, the support that Jezebel once commanded had eroded over time. Her servants, perhaps recognizing the inevitability of Jehu's victory or growing weary of her oppressive rule, turned against her. As Jehu entered the city, they seized the opportunity to align themselves with the new regime by throwing Jezebel from the window to her death. This act of betrayal was swift and decisive, signaling the end of Jezebel's reign and the fulfillment of the prophetic words spoken against her. Jezebel's death was marked by its brutality and the stark imagery that accompanied it. Her body was left in the fields of Jezreel, exposed to the elements and consumed by dogs, just as Elijah had foretold. This grim fate was a symbolic representation of her downfall, a reflection of the spiritual and moral decay that had characterized her reign. The events leading to Jezebel's death were not just a series of political maneuvers. They were the culmination of a spiritual battle that had been waged over the hearts and souls of the people of Israel. In the end, Jezebel's story serves as a powerful testament to the consequences of defying divine authority and the inevitability of justice. Her death marked a turning point in the history of Israel, a moment when the forces of idolatry and oppression were confronted and defeated by the power of faith and righteousness. The legacy of Jezebel's demise continues to resonate as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the importance of staying true to our spiritual beliefs and the dangers of allowing ambition and pride to lead us astray. On the day of Jezebel's death, the atmosphere in the city of Jezreel was tense, charged with the anticipation of change. The once formidable queen, who had wielded power and influence over the kingdom of Israel, now faced the end of her reign. Jezebel's downfall was set in motion by Jehu, the anointed avenger, who was determined to fulfill the divine mandate to eradicate the idolatry she had spread throughout the land. The confrontation between Jezebel and Jehu marked the climax of a long-standing struggle between the forces of spiritual truth and deception. Jezebel, aware of Jehu's approach and the threat he posed, attempted to maintain her regal presence and authority. She adorned herself in royal attire and painted her eyes, presenting herself at the palace window with defiance and pride. This act was a final assertion of her power, a symbolic gesture meant to intimidate Jehu and perhaps remind him of the queen's influence. But Jezebel's defiance was met with a stark reality. Her time had come to an end, and the weight of her actions could no longer be ignored. As Jehu entered the city, he was met with the sight of Jezebel at the window. His approach was direct and unyielding, calling out for those who were loyal to him. In a moment of dramatic reversal, Jezebel's own eunuchs, the servants who had once been under her command, chose to side with Jehu. In an act of betrayal and allegiance to the new order, they threw Jezebel from the window. Her body fell to the ground, and in a chilling fulfillment of Elijah's prophecy, dogs consumed her remains in the fields of Jezreel. Jezebel's death was not only a physical demise, but also a symbolic end to her influence and the idolatry she had championed. The events of that day underscored the victory of divine justice over human defiance and marked a turning point in the spiritual history of Israel. Jezebel's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pride, manipulation, and the rejection of divine authority. The aftermath of Jezebel's death was profound, both in its immediate impact on the kingdom of Israel and in its long-term significance for the spiritual narrative of the nation. Her demise marked the end of an era, a period characterized by the struggle between the worship of Yahweh and the idolatry of Baal and Asherah. With Jezebel gone, the kingdom was free to begin the process of spiritual renewal and restoration. Jehu's victory over Jezebel and the subsequent purging of Baal worship from Israel represented a return to the worship of Yahweh as the central focus of the nation's faith. The removal of the altars and temples dedicated to foreign deities was a symbolic cleansing of the land, a tangible demonstration of the commitment to restore the covenant with God. This period of renewal was marked by a renewed emphasis on the teachings of the prophets and a rejection of the influences that had led the people astray. The significance of Jezebel's death extends beyond its historical context. Her story has been interpreted as a powerful lesson about the consequences of defying divine authority and the dangers of allowing pride and ambition to cloud spiritual judgment. Jezebel's downfall serves as a reminder that true power lies not in the manipulation and control of others, but in the adherence to spiritual truths and the recognition of a higher moral authority. In the broader narrative of the Bible, Jezebel's story is a testament to the enduring struggle between good and evil, faith and idolatry. Her life and death highlight the importance of remaining steadfast in one's beliefs and the need for spiritual vigilance in the face of temptation and deception. The legacy of Jezebel's demise continues to resonate as a cautionary tale, offering insights into the nature of power, the consequences of sin, and the ultimate triumph of divine justice. Jezebel's legacy in spiritual teachings is both complex and instructive, as her story has been used to illustrate various moral and theological lessons throughout history. In the Bible, Jezebel is often cited as a symbol of idolatry, pride, and the dangers of turning away from God's commandments. Her name has become synonymous with the rejection of divine authority and the embrace of false gods, serving as a warning to those who would follow a similar path. The story of Jezebel is frequently referenced in discussions about the nature of power and the responsibilities that come with leadership. Her life is a reminder that those in positions of authority must be mindful of their influence and the impact of their actions on others. Jezebel's use of her position to promote idolatry and persecute the prophets highlights the potential for leaders to lead their followers astray, emphasizing the need for moral integrity and spiritual accountability. Her role as a cautionary figure, Jezebel's story also serves as a reminder of the transformative power of repentance and redemption. While Jezebel herself did not turn from her ways, her story is often used to illustrate the possibility of change and renewal for those who do. The themes of judgment and mercy that permeate her narrative offer valuable insights into the nature of God's justice and the opportunities for redemption available to all who seek it. Jezebel's legacy is also reflected in modern discussions about the challenges of staying true to one's faith in the face of societal pressures and temptations. Her story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of discernment and the need to remain vigilant against the influences that seek to lead us away from our spiritual convictions. In this way, Jezebel's narrative continues to inspire reflection and dialogue about the nature of faith, the consequences of sin, and the enduring power of divine truth. The story of Queen Jezebel is a compelling narrative that encapsulates themes of power, defiance, and divine justice. Her life and death serve as a powerful testament to the consequences of turning away from God's commandments and embracing idolatry. Jezebel's dramatic downfall highlights the dangers of pride and manipulation, reminding us of the importance of spiritual integrity and the ultimate triumph of truth over deception. Jezebel's legacy endures as a cautionary tale, offering valuable insights into the nature of power, the responsibilities of leadership, and the transformative potential of repentance and redemption. Her story is a reminder that true power lies not in the manipulation and control of others, but in the adherence to spiritual truths and the recognition of a higher moral authority. As we reflect on Jezebel's narrative, we are called to examine our own lives and the ways in which we navigate the complexities of faith, power, and spiritual integrity. In the end, Jezebel's story serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring struggle between good and evil, faith and idolatry. It challenges us to remain steadfast in our beliefs, to seek divine guidance in all aspects of our lives, and to recognize the transformative power of repentance and redemption. Jezebel's legacy continues to inspire reflection and dialogue about the nature of faith, the consequences of sin, and the enduring power of divine truth.